twice. So, in true CMU style, then I pulled a couple all-nighters and tried to think of what was new. But not much, really. I mean, Hollywood hasn't released a sequel, and even though Daniel Tosh pretended to cut my other arm off with a circular saw, I actually still have the rest of all of my body parts. But the highlight of these last 2 years, I got to be a voice on The Simpsons. I know, a nerd's dream come true. I knew my degree would pay off someday. And I may not ever have a museum, established in my honor, but take that, Andy Warhol. Well, this month actually marked the 10th anniversary since I amputated my arm to escape certain death in Blue John Canyon. 10 years. 10 years ago, most of you were going into middle school. Or where's my architects? All right, yeah. So you guys, that 2003 was like your freshman year here, I think. But to commemorate this anniversary of my rescue, I returned to Blue John. A week ago, I stood in that spot where I spent those 127 hours. And I cried. I cried tears of gratitude, saying thank you for everything that rock, that place has given me in my life. It taught me that whenever life is traumatic, we decide whether that trauma is going to be a tragedy or a triumph. To this day, it remains the greatest thing that's ever happened for me. It showed me what I'm capable of when I tap into the power of my relationships. Now, the great philosopher Lao Tzu, author of the Tao Te Ching, and himself an honorable Scotsman, actually, little known fact. He wrote that being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. On the 4th day, out of water and down to the last scrap of my food, I dunked the final mummified bite of my burrito into my own urine in order to soften it up so I could choke it down. And you think the food in Resnick Cafeteria is bad. No. It's getting better from what I heard, actually. But clearly those rations were not keeping me alive. But it wasn't merely the will to live, either. It was the will to love. Now, on the 5th night of my entrapment, I etched my epitaph into the canyon wall. A-R-O-N. October.
Police?
2nd.
Police officer?
Is there a doctor here?
April 03.
Here.
We need a doctor.
Now at midnight, April 30th became May 1st. My epitaph was outdated. I mean, what are you going to do? Scratch it out? No, read it, Aaron. You're not going to see the doctor. I said that out loud. And yet in the following hours, I had an out-of-body experience where, near death, I left the canyon. I walked down a hallway. I saw myself in a living room. And there was a little boy, 3 or 4 years old, blonde hair, red polo shirt, me with a truck. I saw myself interact with him, scoop him up, my hands with my left hand and a handless right arm. Beautiful, brilliant blue eyes exploded and wordlessly saying, "Daddy, let's play." And the next moment he was gone. I was back shivering and possibly alone in that terrible dark canyon. But that little boy changed everything. He reminded me how much more love I had yet to live. Sometime later, the sun rose up over the desert, and that dawn I was convinced that I wouldn't see came back. And then, smiling a smile that embodied the love of all of my closest relationships, I freed myself. And leaving that spot, I stepped out of my grave and into my life. 7 miles on, I was saved. And as much as it looked like a helicopter that picked me up and brought me home, what it really was my mom's love. A parent's love that gave her strength and courage to spearhead a miraculous rescue. Even while it's doubly true for me, obviously none of us would be here without our moms. Wherever yours is, be sure to thank her today. 10 years later, that little boy that I envisioned, he's real. We named him Leo because the courageous little lion who gave me the strength to get through that night. He's 3 years old, in fact, and he's got several red polo shirts. And of course, he loves playing with trucks. His love, his smile is always with me. If I had to do it all over again, I would cut my other arm off in order to get back to him. And I'm pretty sure you would do it too. If you doubt for 1 second, actually, that you would do it for yourself, ask, what wouldn't you do to get back to your closest loved ones? And yet the will to love is not just for extreme situations. It's in all of us, every day in our relationships. What we are celebrating here, right now, all of this accumulated achievement, is from the strength and courage of those relationships. None of us have arrived here today alone. And today, as you see all the people who work so hard to bring you to this point, to help you along the way, give them a big hug and give them your heartfelt thanks. When challenges come in the future, they'll be again there for you, and you'll be there for them. Because the will to love says we're not just here on this earth to enrich our own lives, we're here to enrich the lives of others. So get out there, save the world, perfect those robot cars, please. Maybe Danny Boyle will make a movie about your adventures someday. That'd be fantastic, because if for no other reason, we really need another commencement speaker. Thank you so much, and congratulations, the class of 2013.
Thank you. Wonderful. It's a great pleasure to acknowledge the achievements of this year's group of doctorate degree candidates. These outstanding scholars received their academic hoods at a special ceremony last night. In earning their doctorate degrees, they have made a commitment to a life of scholarly pursuit and have reaffirmed the importance and value of Carnegie Mellon as one of the nation's premier research universities. I'd like to ask the doctorate degree candidates who are with us to please rise and be recognized. There they are. Thank you. I'm also pleased to acknowledge our university professors. These distinguished individuals have earned the title of University Professor, the highest honor the university can bestow on a faculty member, because they represent the intellectual foundation on which this university is built. These outstanding scholars represent the best and the brightest at our university. In particular, I'd like to recognize the faculty members who are newly appointed this year begin their terms as university professors. Please stand to be recognized as I call your name. First, Jared L. Cohen. Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, Engineering and Public Policy, Carnegie Institute of Technology. He did this moonlighting. Dennis Epple, the Thomas Lord Professor of Economics, the Tebber School of Business.